Spec 24-2. Again, the objections of Christopher Surveyors to the petition of Paperboy Love Prince for representative in Congress in the 7th District. Clerk's report, 432 signatures submitted. They found 348 invalid, leaving 84 valid signatures. 375 valid signatures are required to qualify for the primary ballot.
Short by 291.
Yes, Mr. Love Prince, would you like to be heard on that matter?
Yes, I would.
Okay, please proceed.
Okay. First, I wanted to mention my county committee petition is nowhere to be found on any ledger. The identification number for that is KG 2001165.
Okay.
So I just wanted to raise that.
Is that
County Committee has a separate ledger that's not posted. If you have any questions, please email us at the board here, and we can
would that
get
be
back
Brooklyn?
to you. It's Brooklyn too, but
All
yeah.
right. So, all right. So if you could send an email with your specific question to the email address that we've provided, and Brooklyn will be on the calendar for tomorrow, not for today, so we don't have all of those documents at the ready presently.
Okay.
So now with respect to 24-2, if you'd like to be heard.
Yes. First off, I wanted to thank everyone for your time and your hard work. My name is Paperboy Love Prince, candidate for Congress, New York 7th District. And the first thing I'd like to raise is on the general objections and the specification of objection filed, my address was spelled incorrectly, which appears to be in violation of Rule G3, leading to confusion and uncertainty for the voters, candidates, the board, and everyone involved. This same error, just to repeat, was made on the specifications to objections to my petitions. I currently live at 248 McKibben Street in Brooklyn, New York, while the objections filed against me. I hear some feedback, but the objections filed list my address as 248 McGinn Street, which is not the address that's listed on my petitions, and it's not the address that I'm registered at or have ever lived at. So, yeah, wanted to raise that, and because of that, one, it was sent to my wrong address originally. They sent it to my representative instead of me, the candidate person, and I still was not able to receive the specifications. The post office at McKibben is chaotic, and I went there twice and couldn't find it. I know that already today people have been thrown off the ballot for incorrectly binding and stapling pages, not adding the right office, or incorrectly identifying their borough. And so we believe that that this should also be thrown out on his face, as my address was spelled wrong multiple times, and again caused confusion for me and for everyone involved in this process. Next, I'd like to bring up the issue with the voter registration of the objector, Christopher Chavez. First, Chavez publicly identifies as male and did when members of my team contacted him, but his current voter registration identifies him as a female. So that error or discrepancy with his voter registration. Furthermore, Chavez originally registered under the Working Families Party and did not change his registration to Democrat. When he did change his registration, it was done with an invalid affidavit. Therefore, he is still a Working Families Party member and cannot object to a Democratic Party petition. There is no paperwork showing the change of party and new registration. So there was that. I also wanted to add that, normally during petitioning, we can get the signatures needed in 3 days, but because the time was changed arbitrarily, the time shortened, and the time we planned on petitioning was lost. Everything else with election has been going on, as far as the April 28th special election, as far as the April 20th primary. All of these things have been pushed back. But when it came to the petitioning period, this was all moved up with very little notice, making it difficult for candidates like myself basically, as well as as well as voters that were eager to sign petitions and thought that they had more time to do so. Due to coronavirus, many in my district were very weary about signing petitions and touching pins and boards, as many are aware of the fatal consequences of this. Chinatown makes up a large portion of my district, and many there were already worried about the issues with coronavirus in early February before the petitioning period even started, and raised questions about how they would let us know the candidates they wanted to vote for by signing, when this process was a very dangerous process, as they saw the writing on the wall following the news out of China. This cut into many of our volunteers, and as well as registered voters who wanted to help out, not being able to.
So, Mr. Love Prince, I appreciate all of those arguments that you're making, but what I need to kind of dial you back to is, what documents do you want us to take a look at? Because we're going to have to second call this matter to investigate some of the issues that you raised, because there's the issue with the proof of service. So I want to make sure I get all of your arguments down, the ones that we can deal with from a documentary perspective. So it's one, proof of service, right? And what else?
Yes. Then the issue with my address, as far as the address being spelled incorrectly, the violation of rule, it appears to be in violation of Rule G3 by not correctly stating my address that I am registered at, as well as that is noted on my petitions. So those are the documentary things, as well as the voter registration of the objector, Christopher Chavez, who, yes.
So there were two issues that I recall, and I want to make sure we got them both. One was the gender identification of Mr. Chavez was one of your objections, and the other was that he is not a registered member of the Democratic Party. Is that correct? As far as it, right? Are those your two objections? I'm asking him his objections. Yes, right?
That he was registered as Working Families Party, and when his registration for Democrat was done with an invalid affidavit.
Okay.
We can rule on it. We have the information wrong.
So, Mr. Richmond has been able to retrieve some documents, and please proceed, Mr. Richmond.
First, Mr. Prince, the specification that was sent to your contact person was 24-1, which was dismissed by the commissioners. With respect to 24-2, the proof of service does provide that it was mailed to you at 248 McGibbon, McGibbon Street in Brooklyn, New York, and both your petitions and your cover sheet has the address as 248 McGibbon, McKibbin. So the street address was improperly noted both on the specifications of objection cover sheet and on the proof of service. So I believe you made a good case to have the spec dismissed. There was not proper service, commissioners, to the address set forth on his petition.
Is there a motion?
Motion to dismiss the clerk's report?
For failing to, for the proof of service, for failing to
proof of
comply
service.
with the board's rules to serve the candidate at the address on the petition.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, the motion carries. Mr. Richmond, can you advise Mr.
Accordingly,
Prince, what
the
just happened?
specification of objection was dismissed for failing to comply with the board's rules regarding service. Accordingly, the candidate remains on the ballot.
Thank you.
Okay.